Are you looking to improve your golf game in 2025? Look no further than Golf by Gun. Golf by Gun specializes in individual lessons, small group sessions for 2 to 3 people, and even corporate events to enhance your networking skills on the green. In addition, couples golf lessons are a perfect way to bond with your partner while mastering your swings together. Here's an exclusive offer for our listeners. If you mention Chiefs Central, you will get $10 off your first lesson. That's right, $10 off your first lesson. Take your game to new heights and enjoy the sport you love even more. Follow Golf by Gun on Instagram and Facebook for tips and updates, or reach out via email at golfbygun@gmail.com. See you on the course.
That's okay. Now I got this blanket showing up again back here.
Oh,
Because I turned the light down this
because
morning.
of the light. That's funny. Well, welcome back stateside. I'm glad
That's
you were
cool.
able to. I'm glad you were able to get back in.
Me too. I was not part of the tariff thing, so that's good.
Did you see that thing I sent you earlier? The
Yeah.
Canucks announcer
Yeah.
during that game against Detroit. Oh my God, that is so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, they let me back in with the avocados and didn't charge anything extra, so that was nice.
Perfect. Well, that sounds like we're all
Yeah.
good and dandy there.
I guess the U.S. wanted me back.
I don't know why. I mean,
I don't know either. I was hoping Mexico would want to keep me.
yeah, I think they're waiting until I get to go down there with you.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it might be. I mean, we have some listeners that have listened down to Mexico before,
That's true.
so
Well, I listened from down there. Plus, I did the last podcast from there.
this is true. That's true dedication right there.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, I'm just trying to give you the benefit of the doubt.
I know I didn't do it from Hawaii last fall, so I could have done it there too. But
Yeah, that's all right. We got it all situated and taken care
yeah,
of. TC filled your spot nicely.
he did. He did. He did. So yeah, I was glad to be back home, but at the same time, it's colder than shit here compared to where I was.
I think it's supposed to start snowing again here soon too.
Yeah,
I got that huge random snow squall last night for like
that
30
was
minutes.
crazy. Yeah, that was crazy.
I mean, it was just out of nowhere, I felt like. And then, yeah, I
Yeah,
guess we're supposed to get some more tonight. And it's actually supposed to stay kind of cool too. So be interesting to see if it sticks around. The groundhog did predict more winter. So,
yeah. Punxsutawney Phil.
yeah. But,
Gotta like that furry little rodent, or
well,
not.
well, if there's still snow and ice out there, that means it's still hockey season.
This is true. This
So
is
that's
true.
a good thing.
There is a good thing.
Early February now.
And the way Chiefs are playing right now, I'm ready for hockey season to continue.
Absolutely. I great 3-3 weekend. The Chiefs have played three or two 3-3s this season and swept all of them.
That's crazy.
Look really good effort on Friday against Victoria at home.
Hmm.
I overall really like how the team was looking. A little bit worried about that third line just because with Preston being out of the lineup, but they had Owen Martin filling on that spot at the center spot on that third line, and I thought he fit in nicely, and that line
Yes, yeah.
still looked great. It's nice seeing Martin get back into game shape. He's looking, like the Martin from the beginning of the season again.
Hmm.
Just took up a game or two, but obviously being out for quite a long time with that lower body injury is obviously going to take some time to readjust to the speed and everything. But he's looking back to his old self now, which is good to see. So I thought he filled in nicely, but that top line just continues to dominate.
Yeah, they're fun to watch when they're clicking. I'll tell you that.
It blows my mind how easy they make the game look.
Hmm.
I mean, between Catton and Crystal, you have two guys that are going to be in the NHL in a couple of years, and then Van Olm's reaping the benefits right there. He's going off to NCAA
Hmm.
college next year too at Penn State, and so he'll be making some pro money at some point too. I'm sure,
I
especially
would think
because
so.
he's well on pace to score over 50 goals this year. As of this recording, he's leading the league in goals again with 39. I think after he had another two last night in Vancouver. So he's reaping the benefits. That top line has just been so utterly dominant. Even, there was a couple times we played in like Lethbridge and Medicine Hat where they kind of got it figured out, and then but now
Hmm.
we're had the week off, adjust in practice, and do a couple of different things here and there, and they are really just burying the puck in the back of the net again.
Yeah, we talked about that against the Left Bridges and Medicine House that we felt like the other teams kind of had that line figured out. They definitely switched up enough that this last weekend, the 3 games that they played, it looked like it did before that.
It's again, like I was saying, it's crazy just how easy those three make it look,
Yeah.
and they've really kind of set the example for all the other guys. I think our fourth line has been so good the
Mm-hmm.
last, 2 weeks specifically. I've really noticed those guys a lot.
Mm-hmm.
On the weekend, looking really good. A nice new addition on the fourth line for a couple of games with Preston being out and Ozzie McIntyre
Mm-hmm.
picking up his first career goal on Saturday night in Everett. With a disgusting move, by the way. Just, I mean, I was telling you that's every young hockey player's dream is get coming out of the box and then
Yeah.
getting hit on a breakaway. And I couldn't think of a better way for Ozzy to do it against the number one team in the league too.
No kidding.
And for being a smaller guy, he doesn't play like it.
No.
He plays like a guy that belongs in this league, and I genuinely think that he could play in the league like a full season right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
As a 15-year-old.
it's really encouraging to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
It,
No,
we've lucked out with our last two first round picks with
yeah.
Preston and Ozzy too. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to kind of watch those two kind of gel. It could be another Cat and Crystal type down the road in a couple
Mm-hmm.
of seasons too. Very well could see that. But yeah, we'll go back to Friday, Victoria. Battle of the top two power plays in the WHL. Victoria came into the game with a slight edge over the Chiefs with a top power play unit in the league. But the Chiefs picked up two power play goals and then went 5 for 5 on the penalty kill that night too. So retook the lead there and then kind of ran with it from there over the weekend. And no scoring in the first period. Pretty even. I
Another
mean,
good
I
game.
don't. I mean, overall, the score might say something different with the late goal and everything too. But Chiefs dominating in the shot department. But Victoria's goalie, what God was his name? Johnny Hicks. He played very very
He
well.
played really well.
Made some great saves and definitely kept the Royals in the game. Victoria is another one of those teams that added at the deadline, and they, have the potential to make some noise come March and April.
Mm-hmm.
They were I think they were coming into the game 2 points behind us in the conference standings. So obviously they're a very good team with a lot of firepower and good goaltending and everything too. So going into it thinking it was going to be a very, very good game. And for the most part, it was. I mean, the Chiefs, you know, had more opportunities, out shooting them 34-20 on the game. But again, the top line, Berkeley Catton picking up 2 goals, Shea Van Olm getting a goal and an assist, and Andrew Crystal picked up an assist as well. So, the top guys leading by example, and then our secondary scoring is coming through too with Coco Armstrong staying hot.
Yeah.
Uh, Ra-
T-Bone.
Rasmus Ekstrom picking up another goal toward the end of the second period. And then yeah, I mean, just a really good all around effort and a great start to the 3-3 this week.
Yeah. It
Really,
was.
really good to see Ozzy out there though. He played a couple of games early in the season for us, but getting sent back down to his um, lower team. He's having a good season down there too. So it's just nice being able to, pull that guy up every
Yeah.
once in a while if you need him. You need to fill a spot in the lineup because obviously we have
Preston
three
and
three
Bamba out.
forwards, three
Yeah.
forwards out with injury at the moment. So we needed kind of a body to fill in. So I think he did a nice job in that game.
It
This
did.
is his first game with the Chiefs playing on home ice. So I'm sure that was cool for him too. We had a pretty solid crowd on Friday night.
It was.
Um, so yeah, I mean, just obviously a great start to the weekend. Dawson Callan with another 19 save performance, played very, very well there as well. And again, like I said, 2 for 5 on a power play, and then going 5 for 5 on the penalty kill against the at that time number one power play unit in the league is huge. And
Yeah.
I mean, we do have the number one penalty kill in the league as well. So our special teams compared to last year and the year before, I mean, it's complete night and day
Night and
difference.
day. Yeah.
It's completely different, and it's so nice to see. And it's so nice to see us dominating in the faceoff dot too. We were talking about that a little bit the last few weeks too, even with Coco not being a natural centerman. He's doing great in the dot. Now we have Martin back, who's arguably our best faceoff guy,
Mm-hmm.
percentage wise. Um, Catton's
Cat,
been winning a lot of
Catton's
them.
good. Ekstrom is good.
Ekstrom, Gillespie.
Yeah.
I mean, all of our centers can do work in the dot. So obviously that's a huge part. That's a huge little aspect of the game. So yeah, again, great start to the weekend, and then Saturday off to Everett for the second game of the 3-3. Everett, top team in the league still. They were 13 points ahead of us, 14 points ahead of us going into that game on Saturday. And obviously, we're expecting a tight game between the top two teams in the
Mm-hmm.
West. And pleasantly surprised by that first period.
It was a bizarre first period.
I mean, both teams dealing with some injuries right now. Everett's without um
Mitten
Yetnin and
and
Austin Bruce,
Roast. Yeah.
and a handful of other guys down the line. And then I think they had a Caden Hamill was like a question mark. He did end up playing, but he didn't play a lot of minutes. And then Dominic Raymond who's on their fourth line was also a question mark going into the game, but he I don't know if he ended up playing or not, but I didn't notice him out there at all if he did. But yeah, first period, the Chiefs just could not stop scoring. The last thing that I expected from a game between these two teams was a barn burner, and by the end of the first period, with the Chiefs scoring 6 goals in the first period, I was just mind blown.
Yeah.
Make Everett having to make the goalie change. Jesse Sant shut us down last time he played over in Everett.
Mm-hmm.
He made like 48 saves or something like that, and carried Everett to the win. Getting him out halfway through the first period, that's got to be a huge momentum booster to
Oh
continue
yeah.
scoring too. And again, our top line just carrying the load. Will McIsaac on the back end had a great night too. I think he had
Mm-hmm.
4 assists,
He had a
which
good
is
weekend overall.
I think that was like one guy that I really noticed in person on Friday. I think just his overall game doing the little things
Yeah.
was really noticeable this weekend. So
Him and Mace both.
yeah, that was really encouraging to see too, because
For that game on Friday, I noticed both of those guys more so than our older defenseman. I saw some mistakes by our older defenseman that I wasn't real happy with that game on Friday, but
yeah,
the young guys played very, very solid.
yeah, definitely did. And they carried that into Saturday, getting it going early, about 6 minutes into the first period. Shea Van Olm staying hot, getting his 36th goal of the season. Um, Andrew Cristo picking up his first assist of the game on that. And then 3 minutes later, Shea Van Olm picks up his 37th goal of the season, with again carried by the first line with Berkeley Catton and Andrew Cristo with the assists on that one. And then, I mean, I think it was 15 some seconds later, Chase Harrington
Yeah.
with a tip from a Braden Crampton shot at the point and put us up 3-0 all of a sudden. It's like, wow. I didn't expect us to get 3 goals in the game, let alone 3 goals in the first 10 minutes of the period.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess it just kind of goes to show how good our offense is. I
Yeah.
mean, overall,
Yes.
I because I was saying to you that Everett has the better record, obviously, and they're a very, very good team. I think the Chiefs are a more complete team than Everett
Yeah.
is. Like
Yeah.
overall,
Right now they are.
yeah. I mean, just the way they're playing with our depth scoring has been so good lately too. I don't feel like Everett has that as much as we do.
No.
And part of me thinks that that's from the last couple of seasons, getting those younger 16, 17-year-olds playing those top line minutes that they had to play the last couple of seasons. I think that really kind of helped boost them up to where they are now. They're playing second, third, fourth line, yet they're still contributing every game.
Yeah. You think your Mays and McIsaac are as good as they are right now if they hadn't played last year?
No, absolutely,
And look what we're
absolutely.
doing the same thing. You think Shetler is not going to benefit from this year?
hmm I expect Shetler to come back next year and be the one of the
Yeah.
top defensemen for
Me
sure.
too. Me too.
Um, so yeah, at that point it's 3-0 Chiefs, and then Everett finally gets on the board. Just a nice shot in the power play from Shea Bush. So it's 3-1 at that point. Chiefs answer back 30 seconds later. Sage Weinstein with a nice rush had some open ice up the left side and just sniped it 5-hole on Jesse
Yeah.
Sanch, and that kicked him out of the game.
It's just like you said, everything was going in. Everything that went on net was going in, which is
it,
crazy.
It was that great shot by Weinstein. It's good to see that he's getting on the board. Andrew Crystal picked up another assist on that play. So, the first 13 minutes of the game, Andrew Crystal's already got three apples. Will McIsaac's got his first apple of the night on that one as well. Minute and a half later, Carter Bear comes down and scores for Everett, so it's 4-2 at that point. Chiefs weren't done scoring in the first period. Andrew Crystal would get his first goal of the game, or his only goal of the game, I should say. Um, a nice toe drag, some good patience shown to cut from left side to the middle of the circle, and sniped it past the Jesse Legal, or I don't remember his first name,
That was,
Legal, whatever his
that was,
name is.
that was a sweet toe drag.
Great showing of patience on that play by
Hmm.
Crystal, and just sniped it through. And then, as we were just talking about a little bit ago, a minute later, out of the box and on the board is Ozzie McIntyre for his first career WHL goal, assisted by Will McIsaac and Dawson Cowan on that play as well. So great pass by McIsaac from all the way down
Hmm.
at the other goal line and hit McIntyre right at the blue line, and he walked in and deked the goalie out and tucked it in on the backhand. So congrats to Ozzy, that's huge. I think that again that's a move that we're going to be seeing for the next couple of seasons
Oh yeah,
from Ozzy because that dude's got some skills for sure.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, going into the first intermission, 6-2 Chiefs. Again, I barely didn't think that we were going to put three on the board the entire game. We
Hmm.
doubled that in the first period. How often do you see six goals scored in a single period? I mean, very, very rarely.
No matter who you're playing against, no,
Um,
let alone the top team in the league.
yeah, I mean, and look, if you look at scoreboard aside, first period, Chiefs only outshot them 14-12. So it's like both
Mhm.
teams had chances. The Chiefs just capitalized on their
They're just
chances.
going in, yeah.
And like you said, everything was going in. And then they kind of carried on from that. In the second period, 2 minutes in, Carter Bear picks up his 36th of the season for Everett. And kind of just a good shot from the right hand
Mhm.
circle, just beat Cowan on the short side. But then that was all that Everett would do the rest of the game. As halfway through the second period, Cam Parr somehow found himself wide open in the neutral zone. Bad change by Everett, and the perfect pass to him from Andrew Crystal, and he walked in and deked the goalie forehand backhand. I thought it was Catton at first
I did too.
because I mean that what a move by Parr.
Yeah.
It's nice to see him getting on the board too. I actually do really like seeing him on that second line with
Hmm.
with Sarkinov
And
and Ekstrom
yeah.
because I mean with Preston coming back, they'll move Martin back up to that line, I'm sure, when he comes back.
Hmm.
But I think Parr fits in on that line nicely. He's one of those guys that'll get in on the forecheck and
Hmm.
scoop the puck out when it's being trapped in the corner and find those guys out front. But again, it's good to see him get on the board. He's one of those role guys that can kind of play at any position, on any line. So I'm glad that he was able to get rewarded on that. Andrew Crystal picked up another assist, and Shea Van Olm also picked up an assist on that play. 3 minutes later, Asanali Sarkinov scored a goal net front for his ninth of the season, assisted by Ekstrom and Braden Crampton on the power play. And then just over a minute later, Brody Gillespie and Cohen Harris combined on a 2-on-1.
Oh.
Great backhand pass from Cohen
Hmm.
Harris, found Gillespie's right on the tape and just sniped it past the goalie. Ozzie McIntyre picking up another assist on that play as well. So a goal and an assist for him on the night. And then 3 minutes into the third period, Berkeley Catton scores his 23rd of the season, assisted by Will McIsaac and Andrew Crystal. And that was kind of all the scoring that happened in the game. The last goal of the game happened 3 minutes into the third period, and then
Hmm.
it was just kind of a defense. I don't want to say defensive battle. It was just kind of a back and forth like
Yeah.
bullshit fest for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, did you see any of this coming at all?
No, no. I told you even after the start of the second period, because I feel like the first half of the second period, Everett kind of dominated play, and I felt like we were just kind of running around chasing. And when they scored their goal, I told you, I said, I'm going to call it right now. I think we might end up losing this game because I felt like Everett, whatever they did in the locker room, came out differently, and we got took the foot off the gas a little bit and
Yeah.
kept chasing them. But we actually got the momentum back halfway through that period and just kept it the rest of the game. So the whole thing was shocking to me.
Looking at the Chiefs skaters, like the points that some of these guys got in that game was just insane too. Andrew Crystal had a goal and 5 assists.
Hmm.
So he had himself a hell of a game. Berkeley Catton had a goal and assist, but it was a +4. Will McIsaac with 4 assists, he was a +5. Um, Braden Crampton +3 with 2 assists. Coco Armstrong an assist +2. Shea Van Olm was a +4 with 2 goals and an assist. And I mean, just it's good stuff. And if you look down, they show the face-off wins per player. Berkeley Catton 11 for 14 on the night.
Wow.
Great percentage there. Rasmus Ekstrom 14 for 23. So again, one of those things where everybody's kind of contributing up and down the lineup. Even the D-men are chipping in on the offense. Sage Weinstein with a goal and 2 assists for a +3 on the game as well. So just an all-around, again, fantastic performance for the
Hmm.
second of the third of the 3 games on the weekend. So Dawson Callan, 25 saves for his second straight win, still leading the league in wins right now. And he's got a hell of a save percentage too. I actually wanted to pull that up because
Was he 0.92 somewhere in there?
.91. Yeah. Dawson Callan, the .91 save percentage, 2.65 goals against, 25 wins and 4 shutouts.
Wow.
So he's just having himself a hell of a season,
Yep.
and I'm really hoping that he can kind of continue at this pace for the rest of the year and into the postseason too.
Me too.
Hell of a goalie for sure. I'm sure he loves having that number one role now, like
No.
knowing it's his job.
Yeah. He
But
seems to be
then
relishing it for sure.
yeah, and with that, even when Carter Essler gets in the lineup, he's playing himself a great game as we saw last night there up in
Yeah.
Vancouver. And for the third of the 3-3, and Carter Essler gets the start in net. And boy, he put on a great show. Both goalies, quite frankly, put on a very good
They
show
did.
because that was a really good game
It was.
overall. I think the Chiefs playing their third game in 3 nights with, travel and everything too, crossing the pass and then going across the border yesterday. And um, just a really, really good performance from a tired team too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Definitely showed that they were tired, but and Vancouver played very, very well. They have some pretty skilled guys on the front side
Yeah.
of their of their roster. So, that Cameron Schmidt is a top draft
It's
pick
good.
for this draft this year,
Yeah.
and he scored one of the filthiest goals I've seen this season too.
Yeah.
That was very, very nice move that just beat Carter Essler clean and nothing really anybody could do about it. But
No, Manny's got himself a good team.
yeah, he does for sure. And he's a good coach and he can, coach these guys to do, his systems and play the way that he wants them to play. And if they can do that, then they're going to be successful. I mean, we saw it with Manny and Spokane in 1920. He's a
Yeah.
hell of a coach and the players like him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he definitely has a good team, and I want to see him have success, just not when it's against the Chiefs.
Yeah. Hopefully we
Um,
don't draw them in the first round.
yeah, for real. So yeah, scoreless after the first period, the Chiefs outshot Vancouver 17-12. Just a pretty back and forth period. Both teams had good chances.
Hmm.
I think Vancouver hit the post twice in the first period
Yeah.
and just couldn't get it past the goal line. The Chiefs had some great A chances that was stopped by Vancouver's goalie Burke Hood. And so yeah, going into the first intermission, scoreless. Chiefs pick up a goal 4 minutes into the second period. Andrew Crystal staying hot on the weekend with a beautiful feed from Rhett Saylor. Kind of a weird little scramble for the puck right in front of the crease, and Crystal's wide open on the back door, and Sather with the pass between his legs through
Hmm.
everybody, and all Crystal had to do was tap it in. So what a great pass from the rookie there, and Andrew Crystal scores his 33rd goal of the season. So it's 1-0 Chiefs at that point. And then about halfway through the second period, Shea Van Olm scores his 38th goal of the season.
What has
To
gotten into you this year, Shay?
I know to retake the lead in goals in the
Oh, yeah.
WHL. Another power play goal assisted by Andrew Crystal and Berkeley Catton. That line continues to carry the offense, and they're,
Mhm.
I mean, just putting up video game numbers at this point.
Yeah, they are.
It's just like playing chill.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah,
again,
but then go ahead.
playing Chell against Frank.
Yeah. Damn it. Unfortunately, the 2-0 lead would not last long as Cameron Schmidt, as we were just talking about, came down and scored that backhand goal for his 34th goal of the season. And then, going into the second intermission, the Chiefs have a 2-1 lead. Vancouver scores another goal early in the third period to tie it up at 2. And, from that, I felt like, between that and when we scored with about halfway through the third period, I feel like it was really neck and neck. Like the teams just exchanging chances
Hmm.
and goalies making huge saves one after the other, getting a lucky bounce here and there. And then Will McIsaac, the hometown boy, scoring his third goal of the season with a nice snipe from the point, beating the goaltender clean. I told you it was just a piss missile. It came off his stick like a rocket.
Yep.
Assisted by Owen Martin and Chase Harrington. And then yeah, it was 3-2 at that point, halfway through the third period, and then Vancouver pulls the goalie with 2 minutes left. Andrew Crystal scores the first empty net goal for his 34th of the year, assisted by Van Olm and Berkeley Catton. And then just 5 seconds left in the game, they pull the goalie again, looking to get another goal, get back into it. But Shea Van Olm picks up his 39th goal of the season, assisted by Crystal and Catton. So top line with another huge night. Will McIsaac getting the first star with the game winner and a +3. Carter Essler picks up the third star as well in that game.
That's
39,
career highest
39
for him.
saves.
Career highest.
39 saves. And you know what? A lot of those were grade A chances for
Yeah,
Vancouver too. He played very, very well, and I've been really, really impressed with his game this season.
yeah.
As a 16-year-old goalie in this league is it's so hard to come by. And
Hmm.
when you get that opportunity, you got to take it and roll with it.
Yeah,
And Essler's doing a great job of that right now.
yes, he is.
I'm more than comfortable for whatever reason if Cowan has to come out of a game. I'm more than comfortable with having Essler in the net.
Oh, me too.
But yeah, overall, 3-3, second 3-3 in the year, and a clean sweep in all three games both times.
Crazy,
Good stuff.
crazy.
What was your overall takeaway from just kind of watching not just the top line, but like just kind of watching everybody just kind of gel and just play a consistent 60 minutes all weekend?
The overall scoring for the three games combined, ungodly number of goals for a team that we have seen the last couple of years not score many goals.
Yeah.
Uh, that that stood out to me, obviously, which has been like the second little wave we've had of that since the Crystal trade.
Yeah,
We
20 goals in the 3 games this weekend.
Yeah, and the after Crystal we got Crystal was like 26 goals in 3 games or something like that in that
Mhm.
stretch too. So that's been fun to watch. I'm impressed with our special teams more so penalty kill than power play. Power play is just solid as you would expect them to be with both lines that we have out there, but the penalty kill's been amazing. And for the 3 days, you said they looked tired on Sunday, and they did. But at the same time, the effort was there for all three periods, with the exception of maybe a little lull in the start of the second period in the Everett game, like I talked about. Um, it was there. That's been impressive to watch too, because we have not seen that in a long, long time.
Yeah, you're talking about the penalty kill. This year with the new coaching staff, kind of what we thought they should do all along is, if you're on the penalty kill and you get control of the puck, don't just hold on to it back there and try to find the perfect play. Just shoot it down the ice.
Get it out.
And now that we're doing that under this coaching staff, and look at our penalty kill. We have the number one penalty kill in the WHL. The second that puck touches your stick, it's gone.
Yes, exactly.
And that's exactly how it should have been the last couple of seasons too. It just unfortunately didn't end up that way, but
And we did not build players at that point to try to corral the puck and control it and skate it out either.
right, right.
More,
And now
more so than anything, those teams should have been trying to chip it out.
we have those players,
And these
and
guys are still chipping it out.
and they're just chipping it out. That's just a sign of a good overall team, in my opinion.
It's believing in your coaching staff and believing in your systems.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's something that we've really kind of harped on as fans for the last couple of seasons is, our special teams haven't been great. And now that we have the top power play and penalty kill units in the league, I think speaks volumes for the team and the coaching staff that we have
Mhm.
now too.
Mhm.
But yeah, just overall a great weekend. and a great weekend that earned Andrew Crystal his second WHL Player of the Week as a Spokane Chief in the
Yeah,
last not even month. Um, 11 points, 3 goals, and 8 assists in 3 games on the weekend for Andrew Crystal. Just, I mean, it's just unreal. I
it
mean,
is.
that's it is. I'm mind blown at how simple it looks for him out there.
Hmm.
Him and Catton. I
Hmm.
mean, it's insane to me. But congrats to Crystal, his third one of the season and his second in the last month as a. I
As
wouldn't
a
be
chief,
surprised to see him in the running for Player of the Month. In all honesty, I
me
I,
either.
I definitely think that he deserves it. And then the Chiefs do the Iron Worker of the Month too, and I think this is a very very well deserved Iron Worker for January's Coco Armstrong. I
Agreed.
think I think he has had himself a hell of a month ever since scoring his first goal of the season.
Yep.
I mean, he just continues to put the puck in the net. And he's great on the penalty kill too. Last night I noticed toward the end of I don't remember if it was the end of the second period. I think it was on the end of the second period. We were on the penalty kill, and he dumped the puck down and then just went in on the forecheck hard and aggressive with about 20 seconds left, and just kept control of the puck down in their zone for the rest of the period and let time run
Hmm.
out. So they went into the third period with only a couple of seconds left in their power play. But I mean, he killed off a good 30 seconds there at the end of the game by doing that. And I was just astonished at how simple it looked for him down there because he's busting his ass getting down the ice after dumping it, and he beat the Vancouver defenders down there and kept control of the puck behind the net for a good, like I said, 15 to 20 seconds and killed
Hmm.
off most of the power play. So, yeah, I think that's a very well-deserved honor too. He's looking really good in just 30 games he's played this season. He looks like he's right up there with the rest of the team.
What's your overall impression of the three games this weekend?
Again, like you said, with scoring, I think that kind of speaks for itself. 20 goals in 3 games, and a lot of it coming from that top line. But the secondary scoring and the effort from the young guys, I really liked the hustle of the third and fourth lines with Preston being out and Martin taking over that spot. I don't think they missed a step at all this weekend. I thought the fourth line was really good with Ozzy McIntyre playing on that line all weekend. I think him and Cohen Harris kind of have some good chemistry built up
Hmm.
as some quicker, smaller guys. And Cohen Harris is clearly showing that he's more confident in his game now too, playing consistently. And
Hmm.
Brody Gillespie continues to get better and better too. I think his overall game, he kind of reminds me of like a Jonathan Taves type player a little
Hmm.
bit. He's a gritty guy who has a great shot and he's got good hands and he's just smart.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of a Jonathan Taves type player. So I think my main takeaway is that we played a full 60 minutes pretty much all 3 games this weekend.
Hmm.
I didn't take a shift off. You see, even in the Everett game, we're up 9-3 or whatever in the third period, and you still see these second, third, fourth line guys just skating their ass off to get in
Hmm.
on the forecheck and skating back on the back check too. I mean, it's just a complete team effort, and I think my main takeaway was just effort.
Hmm. No,
That was the main thing that I noticed for sure.
yeah. And something else too that I've kind of been thinking about over the weekend, watching all three games. Kudos to Coach Lauer for his ability to find chemistry and changing up lines and having lines that continue to work. Any of these changes he's had to make with Aremba out, with Preston out, um, he's like slipped people into those slots, and they have not, like you said earlier, they have not missed a beat. There's been chemistry right away. He's got a good handle on the makeup of his team, which is something we have not seen in a very, very long time.
Yeah, well, he's a coach that has NHL experience. He's got Brian Pellerin, the assistant coach, who's been in the WHL for
Who's
20
also a
plus
very
years.
smart guy. Yes.
Very, very smart guy. He's been around forever on successful teams.
Yeah.
And Jake Toporowski is one of those young and up and coming coaches that
Mm-hmm.
that I think is gonna be able to take a head coaching position somewhere in the next couple of
Mm-hmm.
seasons because you could tell just listening to, pre and post game interviews on the radio, he's smart. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about, and he's fitting in on that coaching staff too. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that he's another younger guy that's going to take a step up in the near future. So we're pretty lucky to have him with those two alongside Lauer and Pellerin as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think the main thing with this team is that you could take any of these guys and put them on any line and they're going to fit in. I think the
Hmm.
chemistry has built up so much just all around, probably, not just, on the ice, but in the locker room,
Hmm.
outside of the rink. These guys just seem like they're connected and they're ready to go and uh, they're a real team.
It's easier to be that way when you're winning and having fun too.
For sure. Absolutely. And
Both
that,
of those things feed off of each other.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, obviously you don't want to have anybody go out with injury or anything too, but if you have to throw somebody else into the lineup or throw them on a different line because of injury or whatever, and them being able to fit in wherever is obviously a huge plus to have
Mhm.
because not everybody can do that. You
No.
could, I mean, you could throw hypothetical, you could throw Shea Van Olm on the third line. He'll fit right in. He'll be fine.
Yes, exactly.
You
Well,
could
we've seen that with Sarkanoff going to the top line. He fits right in too.
Yeah, you could throw Cohen Harris on the top line and he'd fit
Hmm.
in just fine with those guys. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just overall team chemistry. I think is at an all-time high with these guys right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a great weekend and a huge 6 points picked up over the weekend too, including we gained a little bit of ground on Everett with
Hmm.
that win against them on Saturday. It's still going to be kind of a tough feat to catch them in the standings with only I think 19 games left for the Chiefs. But overall, things are trending in a positive direction. Nice 3-game winning streak going for these guys right now. And then got a whole nother week off to practice
Yeah.
and another pair of games this next weekend over in Seattle on Friday and then back home here against Victoria once again on Saturday, your birthday,
Hmm.
Berkeley Cat and Bobblehead night. So
Right.
it'll be nice for them to kind of get another week off and unwind and then get right back at it this weekend. And I think we got a pretty good chance of picking up some wins in both of these games this weekend as well.
Yeah.
Although I will say, I don't know if you saw Seattle ended Medicine Hat's winning
I
streak
did.
is with a shootout win against
Yeah.
Medicine Hat
I did
the
see
other
that.
night. So that's a big win for the T-Birds who are
Oh yeah.
fighting for their playoff lives right now too.
Yeah.
Still on the outside looking in for them. They're kind of in a battle with Kamloops right now. Kamloops took Everett to the limit on Sunday again as well. Kamloops was, I think they're up 3-2, 3-1, 3-2 at one point. Game ended up going to overtime, and Everett picked up the win. But they gave Everett a pretty good run for their money too. So I think with the Chiefs playing so well right now, and then Everett having these injury issues, and losing these games to blowouts to us or to teams like Kamloops. The Chiefs winning right now is definitely a good thing,
Oh
just
yes.
to say the least. If you're able to catch any sort of ground on these guys,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the standings right now. The Chiefs power play right now 29.1% on the
That's
power play,
bananas. Wow.
82.7% on the penalty kill. Just unbelievable stuff right now. The goals for 202 goals against 141.
Wow.
That has is not something that we've seen a lot in recent years
No.
either. It's been at the complete
No.
opposite end of the
Yes.
spectrum.
Yes. Wow.
So obviously, really, really nice, nice little attention grabber when you look at the standings too, and just goes to show that these guys are putting the buck in the back of the net, scoring at an alarming rate.
Yeah.
I took some questions, comments, thoughts for the fans in the Spokane Chiefs group on Facebook to comment so we could read them out in the show. I got a
Yeah.
couple of questions and everything too, so I thought I'd read those out and then get some final thoughts and we can wrap her up.
Perfect.
Um, so we'll start out with the question. Something that we've also talked about before too, and my answer is yes. Does this team kind of seem like some of the parts of the team from 2008? I think the only difference to me that at least is noticeable for me is we have more scoring now.
Mhm.
But I think in the aspect of them playing as a team, as a whole, yes.
Yes.
Obviously, there's some key differences still for sure, and the game has changed even since then.
Right.
But what do you think?
Yes, I agree with that. The overall chemistry and makeup of the team. You got your role players, you got your grinders, you got your scorers. But at the same time, the difference I see is we have, I don't want to call them superstars. We have some elite talent on this team. We did not have that. We just had a lot of guys that worked hard.
Yeah. And now the thing is we have those guys and then we have the elite talent up front too.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah.
I think this team on especially on paper is better
Me
than
too.
that team in 2008.
Right now, I do.
But again, obviously the game has changed even so much in the last 15 years since
Mm-hmm.
that time. So
I mean, I look at an Ekstrom and I compare him to Left Cole Coper from that year. I look at some of the young guys that have speed and have skill. I look at that being a Tyler Johnson. Um, there's just a lot of similarities in terms of the roles that people are playing on the team that are similar to that too. But we have the elite talent as well, which we did not have then. But that being said, they've come together, like you said a few minutes ago too. They've come together chemistry wise as a team, just like that team did. And we have the goaltending that we also had then too with Tokarski.
yep,
Cowan reminds me a lot of Tokarski.
just solid.
Yes.
I mean, just no other way to put it. He's just solid
Yes.
and does all the right things.
And seems unfazed by a lot of things too.
Yeah, he doesn't let anything get in his head, doesn't let anything get under his skin.
And seems to have fun. Tokarski did too. Tick always had a smile on his face. I see Cowan like that when he gets a start of the game when he's coming out and he's clapping for the fans as he's skating around and that kind of stuff too. Reminds me a lot of Tokarski.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison. That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
I definitely see a lot of those similarities as well now that I'm really thinking about it. So, yeah, it's fun to compare to like those older teams, but like I said, I think this team, especially on paper, is
Oh, on
10
paper.
times better. Great question though. Great question. Crystal and Catton are both elite playmakers. Would it be beneficial to separate them?
At this point, no.
Yeah.
No. Because there's not a struggle there. Would I have changed my answer to that maybe a week and a half ago when we were playing the Lethbridge and Medicine Hat games? I would have said, well, maybe, because they seem to have that line figured out. But before those couple of games and then this weekend, no. Don't don't uh don't rock the boat. If things are going good,
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
exactly.
My thoughts on it are I agree. I think if they're putting the puck in the back of the net, they're getting their passes through to each other during the game. Things are going well. Keep it together for now. If playing a team like Lethbridge, who has kind of our offense figured out with those guys, and they have us stuck in like the trap or whatever, to make the in-game adjustment. Maybe put Crystal on the second line with Rasmus Ekstrom and Owen Martin for
Mm-hmm.
the rest of the game. Maybe kind of switch it up there a little bit to kind of give it just a different look to kind of throw the opposition off. But I think if Andrew Crystal's scoring 11 points in 3 games and Berkeley Catton's scoring 10 whatever points in 3 games, and you got Van Olm with 40 goals on the season now too. I mean, you have to keep them together if they're going to keep scoring like
Yeah.
this.
And if you're going to have to shake things up with that line, like you're talking about, I actually like the idea of leaving Crystal and Catton together because they are so elite. They're going to get it figured out anyway. I would almost take Van Olm off of there to give him a different look and throw somebody else up there because he's, like you said earlier, he's going to fit well on any line that he happens to go on too. So make the different look be that third guy on that line and still keep Catton and Crystal in there.
Yeah, I just kind of think of it as what Edmonton does with McDavid and Draisaitl. They keep them separated, like on the lineup sheets. They have Draisaitl on the second line,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a handful of times during the game where Chris Knobloch will go and throw them out there together
Mm-hmm.
for a shift,
Mm-hmm.
and always seems to work that way
Mm-hmm.
because teams aren't used to seeing that, the first half of that game or whatever. But if they're going to be able to contribute right off of the bat at the start of the game with Crystal and Catton, you got to keep them together.
Exactly.
I completely agree with you there. Like you said, you would ask a week ago, I would have said maybe, but now after this past weekend, for right now at least, I'm saying no, keep them together.
Yep.
Unless our scoring stops dramatically, you got to keep them together.
Yep.
What teams do you see being our best and worst round one matchups as we get closer to playoff time? Pull the standings back up here.
And I was going to say, yeah, I don't know what the standings are right now. I would not personally want to have to play Vancouver in the first round. I think
Yeah.
I think they're a team to watch out for. Like you said, they have some stars on that team, and we know they have a good coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. They made a couple of those subtle additions at the deadline, getting a couple guys from
Mm-hmm.
Wenatchee and some teams out east and everything, and they have the goaltending. That Burke Hood is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And they have Cameron Schmidt, obviously, who's going to go probably in the top 10 of the NHL draft this year. So, yeah, they got some good offensive power. And then on the back end, they got Madsen Leslie and guys like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could be a kind of a sleeper team for sure. They're
I
sitting
also
with
I
a
also
plus
wouldn't
500.
I wouldn't want to have to play Wenatchee in the first round.
I don't even think Wenatchee. I mean, it's close,
They're right
but
there towards that last spot. I don't think we're gonna, I don't think we're gonna catch Everett. I don't think to get that, number one spot. But I would not want to play them either because Don Knockbar's got a good system that he always runs with, and it's also successful. And like,
right.
I mean, we know these coaches because they coached here, but Bill Peters the same way in Lethbridge. They stick to their systems that they've always coached, and they're successful at it.
Definitely. So I had actually just finally figured out the standings thing where the Chiefs have 66 points, yet the Victoria Royals have 62, but they're ahead of us in the Western Conference standings. So I have figured this out.
Okay.
So with the WHL playoff seeding, the top two teams in each division get the first two seeds in the
Okay.
playoffs. So as it sits right now, Everett would get the number one seed, Victoria would get the second seed, and Spokane would get the third seed. So if it were to be like that, playoffs were to start today, Everett would be playing Kamloops, Victoria would be playing Tri-Cities, and Spokane would be playing Vancouver.
Yeah. That
So
scares me a little bit. Not gonna lie.
yeah, I think if any of those teams kind of, down there toward the middle to the bottom of the division in the conference, Vancouver's one of those teams that I wouldn't want to play.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have asked me this a month and a half ago when Tri-Cities was hot, I would say I would not want to
Right
play Tri-Cities.
now, I would play Tri Cities
Now I would play Tri-Cities.
and Kamloops.
I actually think I would play Prince George. I wouldn't mind.
Our success against them.
I think that would be a good series. I'm still weary about Portland. They seem to be really hot and cold. Obviously not as consistent as they have been in the past
Mm-hmm.
decade, but they're still sitting with 57 points right now, just 4 points behind Prince George for the fourth place in the Western Conference. So, I mean, the Chiefs have a pretty solid 9 point lead on them right now, so I'm not necessarily too concerned about them catching us unless we kind of go on a lull. But that's another team that I'm not really sure that I necessarily want to play in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So I think best case scenario, obviously, best case scenario is we catch Everett and get the first seed.
Yes.
And then play a Kamloops or Seattle, Wenatchee, Kelowna. I mean the last four teams in the Western Conference are separated by 3 points right now.
Yeah, they're all right there.
So you got Kamloops with 40, Seattle with 39, Wenatchee with 38, and Kelowna with 37. So any of those teams, one of those four teams are going to sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So playing them, I feel pretty confident playing all of those teams. In all honesty, Tri-Cities wouldn't mind playing them either. But yeah, Vancouver and Portland, I'm kind of iffy on. Those are kind of my worst
Yeah.
case scenarios. And
Yeah.
like I said, I think even against some of these better teams in PG, Victoria, Everett, I'm not necessarily scared of playing them.
No, me either.
Like, if you would have asked me this a couple years ago, I'd say I'm scared of Everett. I'm scared of Portland. I'm scared
Scared of
of Prince
everybody.
George. I'm I'm not scared of any. We've shown that we can beat all three of those teams.
Yeah.
So I think the WHL playoffs, especially in the West, are going to be
It's gonna be fun.
bloodbaths this year. It's going
Yeah.
to be really,
Fun.
really fun. It's going to be good hockey. But yeah, that's a great question. I guess we are coming up about a month and a half left in the regular
Yep.
season. Start thinking about playoffs. Kind of crazy. And then the last question is, what are our lineups looking like once Preston and Oremba come back? I was thinking Harrington, Martin, Preston line would be fun, and those three will be a fixture for us the next 3 years.
Hmm. I like that line.
How would you do it? Like, what would I want to know? Obviously, we'll keep the first line together. What would you do second line with Ekstrom? Because so Oremba's gonna, or not Oremba, sorry, Redmond is gonna be out for a while. He's out on
Yeah.
a month-to-month basis. Um, Sam Oremba are hoping to get back by this weekend, as well as Preston. So if you insert Preston and Oremba back into the lineup, where do you have them fitting?
I could put Arumba anywhere from the second line on down. I feel like he's the kind of player that can fit in any of those three lines. I like getting Preston back on his line where he was. Those guys were fun to watch, and I think that's a future line for
Yeah,
sure. Um, but he also could play anywhere except for
and he has.
maybe yeah, but I don't necessarily see him as on the checking line per se. But yeah, I I
What
I
would
know
you do with the second line with
I know,
Ekstrom?
no, I know some people don't agree with this too, but it was successful. Aremba and Ekstrom together was working. I feel like one right before he got hurt, they were really clicking pretty well together. Seemed to take them a while to kind of find the chemistry in that line, but they did.
Yeah.
I would almost put him on the second line. I mean, I like we talked about the chemistry. This team can score from all four lines.
Mhm.
It's a problem that's a good problem to have, but all of a sudden you get everybody healthy. Some guys are not going to get playing time too. That's
Right.
unfortunate for that too, because I feel like some of our younger guys that are stepping in there now are getting some experience that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise too, and it's actually been really, really good. So I kind of almost don't want to disrupt that, but you got to get these guys back in the lineup too.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have. That's why these guys are coaches, and they'll figure it out. I know that's kind of a soft answer, but I
No,
don't know.
I get what you're saying though. I agree. I think Orembo is finally starting to, score on a nightly basis. And Ras, I feel like he was kind of in a little bit of a period where he wasn't scoring very much, but then last week against Everett, he's scored twice, and ever since then, he's been able to score a couple more times. And I think he's finally got the monkey off his back as well. So if you have that, and then you get Oremba back in the lineup and scoring at that pace again as well, I think it'd be a little bit of a process for him. Preston's just been out the last couple of games, just a mild upper body injury from what I've heard. But so I don't think it'll take him too much to adjust. But how I would do it right now is I would put Van Olmcat and Crystal, first line, second line, Owen Martin, Rasmus Ekstrom, and Sarkinov.
I like that.
Third line, Harrington, Martin, and Armstrong. You got to keep that line together while they're, or not Martin, Harrington, Preston, and Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fourth line, I would put, Parr, Gillespie, Harris. If when Oremba comes back, maybe you could put him on that line and just kind of switch, Gillespie, Harris, and those guys in and out of the lineup, give them a
Mm-hmm.
break. 16-year-old, that's going to happen in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to get those veteran guys in there, especially, late in the season. So I think, anywhere in that fourth line, I think with Oremba, you got to switch him maybe between the third, fourth line, maybe switch Sarkinov and Oremba every once in a while because Sarky can play on that fourth line too.
Yeah, agreed.
That's kind of how I would do it personally. I think other than that, how everything is set up right now with the success that we're having offensively, everything is working out really nicely wherever you put anybody, quite frankly. So I don't think it's going to be that much of an adjustment for any of these guys getting switched to different lines, but yeah, that's kind of how I would do it.
Yeah, and going back to Ekstrom too, it took him a while to start scoring against you. I wonder if it wasn't just a little bit of what he's kind of carrying the team with Cat and Don when he was the captain, and then Catton comes back and kind of trying to find his role again too because it had to change yet again. I felt like he was doing really good before Catton went to World Juniors, and
Yeah.
then he kind of took over being the captain. Then I felt like the responsibility, he kind of wore it proudly, which was great. And then once that's kind of taken away from you because Catton comes back trying to find your niche again, um, I feel like he's got it again, and kind of playing just the kind of hockey that he wants to play.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, obviously that's a huge adjustment for anybody. Kind of all of a sudden being thrown into that like the main leader on the team while your captain is gone. And I think that he is a leader not only on the ice, but it sounds like a leader off the ice too. It sounds like he's
Yeah,
a great kid, and everybody looks up to him in the locker room too. And so obviously I'm sure that was kind of a lot of pressure for him being thrown into that, and I think he did a good job of it, quite
he did.
frankly.
He reminds me a lot of Tyler Johnson those last couple of years in Tampa Bay too, where John Cooper would move him up and down the lineup too. He would play on all four lines the whole playoff run, and just because he fit in everywhere and could do whatever needed to be done. And I need you to be a scorer. I need you to be in the face-off circle. I need you to be on the forecheck. Whatever, he could do that from any line out there. And I feel like Ekstrom fits that role very well.
That's one thing that I really like about him is he's such a good two-way player.
Yeah,
He's a guy that'll get in on the forecheck, back check, got a great shot. He's a good playmaker. He's kind of got everything that a hockey player needs
mm-hmm.
to be a good overall all around hockey player.
Yeah.
And obviously the leadership qualities are a huge plus too. But yeah, so that's kind of how I would do it. That was the last question that I had, and that's pretty much all I got for the rest of this week's episode.
Do we have any grievances this week?
Mm, not necessarily.
Me
I don't think
either.
so.
Me either.
I don't think so. I think I'm pretty set grievance wise. I think I got everything aired out the last couple of episodes.
Yeah, that's good. We're grievance free this week. That says something about you and I'll tell you.
Ain't that the truth?
It doesn't happen all the time.
I know. Well, it's a good thing. We need a little bit more positivity.
Well, I feel like you and I are pretty positive people, but it doesn't mean that we aren't irritated and have grievances from time to time.
That's true. I will say the opposite of a grievance. Very, very good popcorn on Friday night at the arena.
Yep. Top popcorn of the year. There was just something that just told me about, you know what? I wasn't going to buy popcorn, but I'm going to go get one. It was hot and fresh out of the popper. We actually had people walking with us. They're like, I think I'm going to get that too. And they agreed it was the best of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to the arena. Maybe they watched the podcast.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Because I feel like ever since we aired that grievance right around Christmas time, it kind of started to turn around a little bit. Because some of the popcorn's been hot and fresh the last couple of
and I do see
games.
that machine full when we walk by it, even when we don't buy it. So it's possible. I don't know. So maybe somebody from the arena staff watches or gets wind of our podcast.
Well, and I do know that we weren't the only ones feeling this way about said concessions. So,
no. But I will air a little bit of a grievance too. What's selling the refillable cup? But you can't take the refillable souvenir cup in to games down the road in the future to be able to use it. Where some staff say yes, you can, and some staff say you can't. Let's get the answer straight, people.
Let's also get the ice machine figured out.
Can we? Oh, that's my grievance. Oh, we already grieve about that.
I think we did.
Yeah. But that's get the answer correct. We know how it goes with the Chiefs when they give you an answer that's not really legitimate. We've dealt with that in the past. Just give us the answer. Can we or can't we?
Definitely, absolutely. I think you should be able to if you're paying $10 for a souvenir cup.
Agreed. That costs nothing for the soda machines.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. But other than that, I think I'm grievance free.
Good. Likewise.
All right, I guess we can wrap her up and get ready for another big weekend of Chiefs hockey ahead here.
All right, sounds good.
All right, till next week.
Go Chiefs, go.
Go Chiefs, go.